Hey guys, it's me, Gabriella. Your Wednesday's here on BasicallyUs, but today is not Wednesday, it is Friday, and I want to apologize for not posting on Wednesday. This week has been hectic. If you don't realize, this is a new setup because I have recently moved in with my aunt for the next 3 months until I finish this next semester of college. So everything's kind of crazy, and this week has been crazy, and I actually have to do homework after this, but I still wanted to make a video for you guys. And this week is story time week, and my life is pretty boring, so I decided that I would do a story time on something that is, I guess, kind of interesting about my life, and it's a story time behind my scars. Now, before we get any further, I know that my nails look really gross and ratchet. I am not good at painting my nails, and I am a disgrace when it comes to painting my nails, but they're painted, so yes. So back to the story, my scars. I have 2 very noticeable scars on my body, and then I have one that's not really a scar, but it's a very interesting story. And all of these scar stories, I guess, have something to do with my phobia of blood and sharp objects and pain in general. And I thought that I would start with the oldest one and then go up to the newest one. And I think that the stories, they all come in like a 5-year time span. I'm not really sure. You can do the math after this video. But with that, let's just get started with my first scar. It is underneath this eyebrow, and I don't think you guys can really see it, but it's like a little scar right there. If you would see me in real life, you would be able to notice it, but like on camera, I'm not sure if it's noticeable. Anyways, this scar took place when I was around 4 years old, and I was living in New York at the time, and I was with my babysitter, and we were outside. I think she lived in an apartment, so we were outside her apartment complex, and we were in the front, and I was walking on the sidewalk, or running on the sidewalk, and there was a little boy, and I think that was like a little boy I knew. I don't think he was random, but he was running this way on the sidewalk, and I was running this way, and he was a little bit taller than me, like a couple inches, and we were running, like being little kids, like being dumb, and we collided. When we collided, his teeth, not sure what tooth it was, but one of his teeth, I don't know one of his teeth, I think that's correct in English, went into my eyebrow, and then when he backed up, there was like blood all over his mouth, and there was blood all over my face. And I don't necessarily remember the story, but my mom has told me enough times for me to remember, the story, that there was just blood everywhere. So they took me to the hospital, and they didn't do the stitches with like the needle. They did I think they're called butterfly stitches, which is like tape, and like they tape it, and then like the tape like dissolves, and it's like a scar and whatever. And so that's what they did right there, and that was that story. Now, I don't really remember that, but being told the story, definitely it makes sense why I had such a fear of blood and stuff like that from a young age, but that was just the beginning. Now, the next story takes place about a year or 2 later, either 5 or 6, and we had moved to Texas, and at this time, we lived in a different city than I do now, and we lived in a rental house. And so this rental house, I don't know what was wrong with it, or what like was wrong in the neighborhood, but there was always like bugs, and it wasn't inside the house, but there was always outside. So like water bugs, spiders, bees, wasps, all those kinds of bugs, and I hate bugs because of it. Like, I remember that. It was just so disgusting. I hate bugs now. Like, I can't stand bugs. Insects, yeah, gross. So I remember that since there were so many insects, my parents had like parking in the driveway, and we had the driveway that was like wrapped and was behind the house, and then the garage was behind the house. So we always parked in the garage, and we had a green minivan, and so it was like the back seat, like the very back seat, and then there was the very front seat where like the driver is, and then there was the middle, and the middle had bucket seats, so you could take them out or put them in, whatever. So we had 2 bucket seats, and we never had them like one on either side of the door. We always had them pushed to one side so we could get out through one door like perfectly from the back. And so I remember that one of the bucket seats had a little tear in the bottom of it, so there was a little piece of metal that stuck out, and if you weren't careful, you could get scratched by it if you're trying to get out of the car too quickly. So you guys had to be careful getting out of the car. And this particular time, I wanted to get out of the car first. And so what I used to do, I remember I would unbuckle my seatbelt as we were driving into the garage, and I would jump into the middle seat. So by the time we got into the garage and the car was parked, I could throw open the door and run in, and I would be the first one inside the house. So this time I did that like we usually do. We were driving, I buckled my seatbelt, and I went to jump to the middle seat. When I went to jump in the middle seat, the car kind of jerked a little bit. I don't know what happened, but it just jerked, and I kind of like got pushed into the seat and then got thrown back. And when I got thrown back, I realized that I was bleeding. And I was going to a charter elementary school, so we wore like the navy blue Bermuda shorts with like white socks and white shoes. And when I looked down, my knee was bleeding and there was blood running down, and it had already gotten onto my sock, not my shoe, thankfully, because I didn't have to buy new shoes, which is a good thing because money is So basically, I'm not going to show you because then I'm going to have to roll up my leggings or my sweatpants. I don't really know what these are called, but it's right here. It's kind of, actually it's pretty noticeable. It's about that big, like that. At the time, the scar was like a little bit bigger, so it shrunk over time. But I remember like freaking out. Like at first I didn't feel anything, and then like after I realized it, I was like, oh my god, I'm bleeding. And then I freaked out. And at this time we had a family living with us, family friends living with us. And so my mom and my dad like rushed me into the house, and they put me in the bath. And the family friends, the mom of the family, she came in and she was like helping me, like cleaning off my leg. And we didn't have I don't remember how we wrapped it. I think she put like a bunch of like cotton balls on it, and then she like wrapped them up and like so they could stay put. I think they put like ace bandaging. I'm not completely sure, but I think they put ace bandaging, and I don't think I went to the doctor for that. I don't remember if I did or not. I just remember that it healed, and there's a scar now. And the last story that I'm gonna tell you guys happened, I think I was 5 or 6, so maybe like 2 to 3 years later. I was about 8 or 9 years old, and we were living in a totally different house. So after this house, we moved and we bought a house, and we were living in this house, and I was old enough to help my mom with dishes. So my mom had stepped out of the room for a minute, and I was helping unloading the dishwasher, but I could only unload the like non-sharp objects, so like plastic cups and plastic bowls and things of that nature that like you let 9-year-olds help carry. So I was taking out stuff, and there was a knife, like one of those really sharp knives I used for cutting, and it was in the top thing. I don't know what they're called, like the top rolling thing. And it was in there, but it was like laid down, and it wasn't. I'd never like cut myself before, or whatever, so I was either just grabbing stuff. And I guess the way that it was placed, it must have shifted, and the blade was like going up instead of going down like it usually is. So I went to grab something, and when I went to grab something, I pulled my hand like this, and I sliced my finger open right here. And it wasn't like a terrible slice where like you could see bone or anything gross or anything, but it was bad enough for my like finger to start bleeding. So you may not be able to see it. You can kind of see a slight like indentation in my finger now, but right here, it's like right there, I sliced my finger open. And I remember we didn't have any band-aids, and I was like trying not to freak out because like my dad was at work, and my sister and my brother were like upstairs doing something, and my mom was in her room, and I was like, I can't like freak out, like I can't do that, I need to like do something, and we didn't have any band-aids. So I remember grabbing paper towels and wrapping it really tight around my finger, and then getting tape and wrapping it, and then like I went to my mom and was like, Mom, I just cut my finger. And she was like, what? And so like I don't remember, like I remember like washing it and stuff, so it was like already disinfected, and we didn't go to the doctor. I just kept wrapping it in paper towels until it healed, and it healed fine. I don't have a scar, which is good, but I remember that was like the weirdest thing. So that is the end of this story time, the stories behind my scars, I guess, and stories behind my blood and sharp object phobia. I've gotten better over time. I'm not as afraid of blood and sharp objects. I just have to be really careful with them because I get nervous when I'm like using knives or scissors or things like that. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any horror stories, scars, things of that nature. I'd love to hear them. Even though I'd probably get queasy, I would love to get queasy hearing your stories, I guess. If you did enjoy this, also please share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel because we make new videos every day. Again, I apologize for not uploading on Wednesday, and this video is kind of making up for that. Now stay tuned for tomorrow, Kristen's video, and I will see you guys next week on Wednesday. I love you guys. We're Basically Us, you're Basically You. See you later. Bye.